name's Gypsy, and welcome to another episode of an Analog Horror Analysis, a series in which I go through, cover, and analyze other people's different VHS tapes. This episode is the second and final part of the Reach animation tapes. I highly request that if you haven't already, go watch part 1, because now we are in the terrain of the Incident Logs Season 2. With all that being said, let's begin. We start off with a black screen. It only takes a couple seconds before we see somebody typing on the screen, with the nature of the video being too low quality to actually see what he's typing. But soon enough, we find out why this video is being made. It's an autopsy report. On what, you may ask? Well, it's entered, laying on some sort of metal table. It shows a list going over the brief nature of the character. But we see that this video is being narrated by Henry Emily. If you remember, he was the last name that we saw at the end of Season 1. We hear Henry say that although this thing appears to be an animatronic, it has human anatomy on the inside. When you cut it, it bleeds and breathes, and it has human eyes and human teeth. It stands at over 7 feet tall, it has abnormally long limbs, and has sharp extremities. It also seems to have a human skeletal system. We aren't too sure when this video was made. If it was before all this happened, Henry must have been the one who made it, and if it was after, the only question that really remains is how the hell they get their hands on it, knowing that last season, this thing is really just a wild animal. What makes the most sense to me so far is that Henry was the one who built this, and William stole it from him to kill people. As you can see at the end of Season 1, William speaks to Henry through the computer, saying that Henry can have it back once William is done with it. He never specifies what it is, but it's safe to assume from the context clues of Season 1 that it is Ennard. Throughout the end of the first tape, we see creepy shots of Ennard from different cameras, showing us that Ennard is most likely still alive and communicating to us through this tape. After we get a rather eerie shot of Ennard's eyeball, the first tape ends. The next tape actually gives us a date.
You see, Scott? You see how easy that is? You don't have to hide every single date to make an interesting lore.
The date is March 11th, 1983. That is the date of the interview between Henry Emily and investigator Adrian Crawford. Right at the beginning of the conversation, Henry is informed that Fazbear Entertainment is under heavy suspicion, and the elevator incident that we had heard all about in Season 1 is no longer under the assumption of being an accident. Now it is under suspicion of foul play. Going off of what we already know about the evilness of William Afton, it's hard to really know how Henry Emily actually is in this universe. Is he someone who's really good at heart and doesn't know what William is doing, or is he lying and covering up his tracks by seeming like a nice person? And I know that I am no interrogator, but I will say that I give him the benefit of the doubt when he does seem very shocked to find out that there may be a killer in his establishment.
So what I'm getting from this is, there is a killer in my facility.
It would appear so.
We then get a date and time on the screen of February 2nd, 1983 at 11:35 p.m. It is a dark hallway in the facility, illuminated by night vision, as we see Ennard crawling in the corner. He darts his head to the side as a reaction to hearing one of the workers in the facility. The worker groans about hating his job, before the tape suddenly cuts off and we get a shot of Ennard hanging over the coworker. Right after this shot, we get a blood-curdling scream, most likely the sounds of the coworker being murdered, as we see Ennard with his faceplates open, mouth agape and twitching from side to side, and flashing text on the screen says he never saw it coming. We now get a new date of interrogation of March 10th, 1983. This is the interrogation of William Afton, with interrogators Bryce McDonald and Greg Wells. The difference between Henry Emily and William Afton in these interrogations is that Henry Emily seems shocked and almost frightened by what's going on in his establishment, but William seems arrogant and defensive, saying that nothing like that could ever be happening in his establishment. He is soft-spoken but intimidating, and he has a wide vocabulary range, kind of leaning towards the style of a Disney character villain. But he definitely doesn't fool the interrogators. As soon as he leaves, the interrogators start chit-chatting, saying that they both don't really trust him, one of the interrogators being a lot more passionate about not trusting William than the other.
I think he's covering something up. Our report said the exact opposite. It's obviously bullshit.
Yeah, I'm catching the same drift. Some stuff Henry off.
Then tell your supervisor that we need to detain him.
No, no matter how much we get from that man, we don't have enough solid evidence to bring to the table.
God damn it, this is bullshit.
Calm yourself, Corporal. We have this under control. Yes, the evidence active on the case.
Oh, big deal.
Plus, he's with the FBI.
It is soon after it abruptly cuts to black that we get a shot of Baby's face illuminated in the darkness. After that, all audio within the VHS tape is cut off, even the sound of the VHS tape buzzing, before you hear a voice saying that there is no hope for you out there, and you have to get it before it gets loose. She is most likely talking about Ennard, because after this shot, we get this. Whether the result of Ennard or the stress of driving through the woods, the car crashes. The man is left paralyzed on the ground, meaning that Ennard, while just at a walking speed, caught up to him, and quote, finished the job. The police eventually show up to the scene, and although they acknowledge that yes, this crash was brutal, they still don't think it's enough for this body to look this mangled, this destroyed, and this torn apart. Obviously, we know what happened to this man, but they do not, leaving the only solid conclusion that they could come up with was he was attacked by animals after he crashed. It is soon after this that we actually learn what is being shown here. This is each incident that the interrogators were talking about. The man who crashed in the woods and the now infamous elevator incident. As you would expect, this elevator scene is showing that the man in the elevator saw something in the vents before he screamed and the elevator was broken, making it fall and crush him. But again, the same question was stirred up, is that although this man was cut up by the blades of the fans and was the victim of an elevator crash making the body get crushed, the body was still so mangled that it was almost unrealistic for the elevator to be the only one who did this. As we learned in the first season, Henry is the one watching all these tapes through the computers and the files, and now it is fully known what's going on here. Text shows up on the screen saying that Henry, you have all the evidence you need and you can take him in. That him being obviously William Afton. The text then gets glitchy, speaking to Henry Emily directly and asking him to end this pain and please take William Afton in, showing that all of these tapes are controlled by some sort of spirit. My best guess is Elizabeth, due to the fact that this is centered around sister location and we just got a shot of Baby earlier saying that you need to take him down. I am going to play the credits of this episode because I do think that this entire series is absolutely phenomenal. If you don't want to watch the credits, skip to this timestamp, but I am going to play them and put my own creepy music over it.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right. This is Lord 6 of the Afton and Emily case. William Afton has been identified at this time as a highly dangerous individual and is now wanted by the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Afton is currently being charged with 4 counts of murder. Any and all witnesses or employees have been detained for safety purposes, as well as for suspected involvement or correlation with William Afton. Upon interviewing the employees, Henry Emily has been cleared of suspicion and has in fact shown us in full scale the damage caused by Afton. As of now, any and all animatronic or robotic entities contained within the location are being decommissioned, and the site will be completely locked down. Any aggressive entities within all will be dealt with by force. After debriefing with Mr. Emily and the site staff, it was concluded there were 4 active animatronics. These included Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, Ballora, and the Circus Baby. After they had been contained, we were advised to keep cautious for the anomaly. Based on the logs Mr. Emily showed me, it appears to be a poorly constructed animatronic frame with basic programming to kill. It is suspected to be created by Afton. I was told it was fast, vicious, and extremely dangerous. Though based on the evidence I've seen, I doubt it will be able to handle an attack. It is still recommended to stay cautious as we don't truly know everything about it. The operation will commence in 2 days, and light military assistance has been requested in case of a large-scale attack. End log.
August 4th, 1983, we are shown an audio file of a man named Clark Williams in what seems to be a therapy session, the therapist in question being a man named James Harvey. I believe that we have not heard the name Clark Williams until now, but early into the therapy session, we hear Dr. James Harvey say that Clark has had PTSD ever since a coworker of his died in a horrible way in the facility, meaning that this is most likely the voice we hear in Season 1 on the frantic phone call saying that somebody needs to come to the facility because there has been a very serious injury. The last thing he says being that whoever he's been yelling about has died. You would know what I was talking about if you watched part 1, so if you haven't already, again, I suggest you go do that. Regardless, it's shown very apparent that Clark Williams has not been doing well since that incident. Not at all. He is mumbled and somber and doesn't seem to want to talk about the situation at hand.
A couple of months ago, you had what some would describe a traumatic event, yes? Involving the death of one of your coworkers?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you care to explain that, Clark? I need you to open up. The floor is yours. Take your time.
We go on to find out that the employee that was murdered in the elevator by the anomaly was a coworker named Tim. While Clark is breaking down talking about the event, he says that Tim was murdered, Dr. James Harvey being confused and alarmed, asking Clark if he knew who murdered him. Clark snaps and he yells at James, saying, "No, I don't know who did it." James becomes more and more adamant on the topic that Tim was murdered, but he soon catches on to the realization that whoever murdered Tim was not human. He then asks Clark what it looked like. What did it sound like? What did it do? Clark obviously does not want to talk about this, becoming very stressed and slurred in his speech.
It's okay, Clark. I understand.
No! Not. It killed my friend, and I got away. It's a monster.
I see.
Units 1 to 10, and 23. Break, men, move out! And 4. Safety off, men. Right.
With an entire military squad, they breach the sister location facility, and although as they go through the facility multiple texts will show up on screen, discouraging them from continuing, they move forward. They look around the front entrance before breaking into the ventilation system, putting a drone on the inside with the camera. As it gets to the end of the ventilation system, we see Ennard. He stares at the camera for a while before attacking it and ripping the camera to shreds. As we go through what seems to be the boiler room, these texts show up on screen, discouraging them to continue. You are only advancing to your death, and this mistake will cost you your lives. Regardless of these threats, they pursue.
Negative. 3. What's that? Adrian, let the hallway down.
They then see a fun time standing in the hallway, and they say although they don't think it will attack, don't be afraid to light it up. They aren't just going through this facility for Ennard. They see every single robot as a threat, and they will take them all out. You see a shot of them looking at a doorway going into the hallway, before you see Funtime Foxy from a different angle walking across that threshold. And they do what they were told to do. Shoot it until there's nothing left to shoot anymore.
Open fire! Did we get him?
Go over to it and check the panel on deck. If it isn't actually dead, at least make sure it's turned off.
As they inspect the animatronic to make sure that it can't harm them anymore, one of the men gets a closer look while the others stay behind, before he is grabbed by something in the darkness and murdered off screen. Although they can't help them because they can't risk all dying themselves, whatever grabbed him attacks them as well.
Flash!
They are injured, tired, and losing hope, but they have no other choice but to find it and take it down, or take it with them. And although they request backup and medical assistance, they are not able to be mated. This ground is too dangerous. With all these flaws in their way, they march forward looking for Ennard. As they ask for help from other soldiers around the facility, they later find out that almost everybody else has been taken out.
Do you copy? Nothing.
What now?
We hold our ground and wait for a reinforcement. Be prepared to make a final stand if need be. Understood.
Understood.
You guys think they're alright?
You can only hope. Tom's being cut is in a good direction, though.
Right before they cut out, they said they found the target.
Seriously, how do you know?
I'm on the dispatch channel. They ran through that detective channel for guidance to the facility, and we have yet to hear back from them.
Damn.
They only have so long. If I'm not careful, this plane will run out of fuel.
Can you not land?
The force is 210, and we're too far from pad.
Well, all we can do is wait.
Is the second unit on standby by any chance?
I believe so.
10-4.
They then run into Funtime Freddy, broken and barely functional, and he knows what they can do to him if they need to. So despite their expectations, he retreats. But you soon realize that they're not the one he's retreating from. They look behind them after being distracted by Funtime Freddy, and there is Ennard, standing in the doorway waiting for them to turn around. The word vengeance pops up on screen in red before they spring into action and try to gun Ennard down. To their best attempts, Ennard does not die, killing multiple of them in the act. After this attack, the phrase "Remember the Fallen" pops up on screen, before going over each soldier that died within the attack, going over the way they died, their relatives, and their names.
Still nothing.
None. This operation is quickly going south.
I don't see why we should just pull the plug, seal the breach, and just leave that thing in there. There is no way that hunk of metal could break through a reinforced steel gate.
Okay, comms are back. This is Zulu 1. Does anyone read me?
What is she saying? Adrian? Is that you?
Please repeat. We can't understand you.
All units operation report. Seal the gate.
Remaining SWAT units, close the gate!
Finally, after all this time, reinforcements show up, and although they try to close the gate to the facility, it won't budge, apparently because the power was shut off, meaning now they must close the gate manually, with their own bodies. One of the operators says, "On my mark, push like your life depends on it," before they slowly start closing the gate. One of the operators that closed the gate asks the other that was with him, "Did you hear that?" before an actual bomb explodes. Where Innard got a bomb? No idea, but it happened. Innard escapes into the forest before an Overlake helicopter tracks his every move. We lose him for a brief time before we get a scene of a standoff between Innard and the head of all this investigation, Adrian Crawford. But before he goes out, he has one final log to make.
This is Adrian Crawford, and this will be the last log that I make. The mission has failed, and the anomaly is headed here. For me. And I can only assume Aston is behind all of this. I have a hand grenade with me, and a loaded pistol. Before I go out, I'm going to lock the door, pull the pin, and send that bastard to hell, along with myself. Call this Plan B. If I do it right, I can kill it. I'm hoping that whoever finds this recording has contacts within the government, so they can tell my family why I won't be returning home. To my wife, Melissa, my son, Chris, and my daughter, Charlotte, I want you all to know that I love you very much. Please forgive me. End log. Right on time. Hey there, big guy. I don't have a lot of time here, but if your little friend Willie is watching, tell him he's gonna rot in hell. He's gonna get what he deserves. Also, maybe tell him to make his robots a little smarter.
Adrian is killed, along with Innard. The mission was successful, but it took a sacrifice. And that is the end of the Reach animation tapes. At least for now. After this, we see the title card, credits, and we see what is left of Innard after the explosion, which is not much. I don't know if I'll do the rest of the Reach animation tapes because unfortunately the series was cancelled a little bit ago and I don't think it'll ever be revived. Maybe, and if it ever does, that I will go back and do it, but for now, most likely not. Regardless, the Reach animation tapes of Season 1 and Season 2 was very, very fun to cover. Reach's channel will obviously be in the description. I have a lot more episodes in the making, and I want to make this series basically not even a spin-off series, but just what my channel is mainly about. Because I am lucky to say that my favorite series to do on this channel is the one that gets the most traction and views. As I said in my last analog horror analysis, my channel has been doing phenomenal recently, and I can only thank you guys. So, again, thank you. I have something cooking up that is very special, and although it might take a while, it'll definitely be worth the wait. I can't say what it is now, but trust me, it'll be very cool. And I can promise you, it will be unlike any other analog horror analysis channel has ever done. For now, I'll let the credits roll to this amazing series, and thank you for watching.